Charles, during recessions, unemployment typically rises. Thus, during a recession, air pollution due to automobile exhaust decreases since fewer people commute in cars to jobs, and so cars emitting pollutants in the air are used less. All right, so we're saying recessions leads to unemployment, which leads to less air pollution because there's of this, because essentially like less people are using cars. Cool.
Yeah. All right. And then Darla says, why think that air pollution would decrease? During a recession, fewer people can afford to buy new cars, and cars tend to emit more pollutants as they get older. Okay. Which one of the following is assumption on which Charles' argument depends? So I guess,
So we're talking about Charles, right?
so I think if he's saying that fewer people commute to cars into jobs, so cars are emitting pollutants into the air, used less. I think he's assuming that like if there was 100 million cars on the road, all of a sudden there's like one car on the road or something, like there's like a dramatic decrease of people
Yeah,
driving.
he's assuming that the decrease in the cars is enough to make a difference, right?
Yeah, like he's
And he's
making
assuming that these people aren't what when they're unemployed, or they must be what when they're unemployed.
staying home.
Yeah, staying home. Excellent.
Yeah, it's like now. I'm just like, wow, this is 2020.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So go ahead and start with A.
Okay. People who have never been employed drive no less frequently during a recession than they would otherwise. But if they've never been employed, they drive no less frequently. I don't think that's it. People
Okay.
who've never been
Yeah.
employed.
So people who have never been employed drive no less frequently. So they drive no less frequently. So they people who have never been employed don't drive less during a recession than they would otherwise. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I'm like, I think it's more of the argument of like employed people,
Right.
like commuting to
We're
work.
not assuming that they're not going to drive less or more, those people that have never drive. Like we're probably just
Yeah.
assuming they're going to stay about the same. But
Yeah,
anyway.
he just thinks like, oh, it's because they're not going to work. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, they could be going to Disneyland or something. Um, Most air pollution is caused by automobile exhaust emitted by cars used by people commuting to jobs. I think maybe.
So
So
do we think that most air pollution is
no, he
caused?
thinks all.
No, I don't think he thinks all. I just think he thinks some, right? He thinks that there's going to be um there's going to be like less air pollution because of this, but we have no idea what he thinks is causing all of the air pollution. He just thinks it's an amount.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not B.
Most people who are employed do not use any form of public transportation to commute to their jobs. So if you're employed, they use some form of public transportation to commute to their jobs. I don't I think I would hold it for now and then probably go to D and E just to see what they say. Because
Okay.
I think I'm not 100% sure with the negation. D says during a recession, decreases in the use of cars resulting from reductions in commuting to jobs are not offset by increased use of cars for other reasons. Oh yeah, isn't he saying that? He's saying decrease in the use of cars resulting from reductions in commuting are not offset by increased use of cars for other reasons. Yeah, he's assuming that there's no other reasons to use the car.
Yeah, they're not like he's assuming that they're not like now they're not going to start Uber driving, right? And there's going to be actually more people on the road.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I would keep D. And then during a recession, a higher proportion of people who commute in cars to their jobs lose jobs than do people. What? No, that is wild. And that wouldn't like hurt the argument either.
Right. Yeah, it actually would help it if more people that have
Yeah,
cars
he's
lose
like,
their jobs. So
good.
people that have cars you're all losing your jobs because
Yeah.
insurance is too much these days. Excellent. So then why
Yeah.
is C wrong?
So C is wrong because most people are employed to not use any form. I think it's because most people are employed, don't use any form of public transportation to commute to their jobs. Okay, so like I guess public transportation would include like what? Like bus, car,
Does it matter if most if
bike.
51% of people don't use any? Couldn't it still go down significantly because of the other 49%?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I don't think it's like enough for it to like guarantee what he's trying to say either.
Right.
Because then I think, oh, if they're not using any form of public transportation, I'm like, a city bike is a public form of transportation, but it doesn't pollute the air. So I think that's like kind of not within the realm of what we're
Fair
looking
that
for.
it's most. It's too like most is not necessary that most people who are employed do not use any form of public transportation. That's not necessary. Like what if all people or what if some people who are employed do not use
Mhm.
any? Not necessary. So that's why our answer is D.
Yeah.